Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this very special video. This is all thanks to Eric who came up with this idea. I thought it was a great idea, so I've asked you on Twitter for your feedback and you have really responded. We've had so many responses. I'm so looking forward to getting stuck into this. It's all about Nightbird, all about the Wyatt Six. And it's all about what you would do when they debut. So here's Eric saying, Bird, I hope you had a good day. I was thinking that we're all worrying about the QR codes, trying to break them down, and that's understandable. But can we do a show where the community discusses if they're going to continue where Bray left off, like going after Bobby and the Street Profits, or will they do something different? So what's going to happen when this group debut? So as I said, I asked you for your feedback up here and you have responded. Look at this. People really engaged. It's crazy, isn't it? Really engaged with this story, of course, and so we're going to work our way through these responses. So we're going to start with Chanel, who said, I would book them to be this day's version of the Ministry of Darkness and make them complete and utter monsters. Dysfunctional Wrestling said, first, I think they should be on Raw. I wouldn't immediately involve them in a feud. I'd have them target individuals in quick attacks. That feels very similar to how we debuted The Fiend, like the debut of The Fiend. They would be forced to be babyfaces due to the Bray connection. I don't think that's fair to their direction. Okay. I mean, it's going to be very difficult to not have people cheering them, as you said. I mean, the thing is that we all know and saw that documentary with Bo. We know how, you know, cut up he is. Of course he is. He's lost his brother. I think everyone wants this to succeed. There's people out there with concerns, and we may see people with those concerns in these comments because there are people out there thinking that this is going to bomb because we don't have the mind of Bray to kind of steer the ship, right? I think that's understandable that there's those concerns out there. I suppose what I would say to those people is let's wait and see first, you know. Let's not worry about it if it's not happened. Let's wait and see when it arrives as to how we feel about it. But at the moment, totally on board with it, of course. Hoping that it works, of course. And I think that they're going to be massive baby faces. I think you're absolutely right. I think it's going to be very difficult to kind of move away from that if that's what we're going to try and do. The Tribal Count said the leader should be Uncle Howdy. The tag team in the group should be Eric Rowan and Dexter Loomis. The mid-card title contender would be Joe Gacy. The women's championship contender, Nikki Cross. They should go unbeaten, work their way through different faces on whatever brand they are on. So it seems like the Tribal Celt wants them to go after different faces. So maybe position them as heels, which, as I said, for me, I think it's going to be really tricky because I just can't see the fans booing this group. I can't see the fans turning on this group. There's so much goodwill towards them. Everyone knows why they're here. Everyone knows what's happened with Bray. Everyone's enjoying this Nightbird campaign. Like, it's hard to see them getting booed. Amelia Jane said, I'm leaning towards them targeting Braun first, having Braun really be against joining, which could then lead to like a one-on-one match, which if Braun loses, he has to join them. But if he wins, then he doesn't. That could be fun. Braun or Randy, straight off the back, says the biggest hater 97. Howdy said, I feel that in some way Uncle Howdy will target Lashley's faction to try and overpower them. They will then move on to attacking other factions. Dominance first could be their main priority. Then comes winning championships. A feud with LA Knight could also take place. LA Knight's an interesting shout, isn't he? I mean, he was obviously Bray's last opponent. Bobby is an interesting shout because that was going to be Bray's next opponent. And actually, the last time that we saw Bray, I think he was doing a vignette as he was preparing to build towards his WrestleMania match with Bobby. Last time we had seen Uncle Howdy was, I think, when he tried to attack Bobby. So Bobby has got a real connection to where things left off, you know, and of course Alexa, who I'm sure will feature in this at some point. Neptune's Kraken said, I don't think they should truly focus on one individual team or just one person. The whole theme for them was that they were forgotten and broken. They should go after the people who made them broken to truly hurt and heal, as the Fiend said, or be what they tried with Retribution. I think the mention of Retribution is going to make people quite uncomfortable because historically that was an absolute bust. But there was something there with Retribution. There was definitely... I think the idea wasn't too bad. I think the execution was the problem. And, you know, this is where it's going to be really, really tricky because there's so much that can go wrong with this group. It feels very easy. Look, you know, you've got Uncle Howdy, you've got the Funhouse, you've got all these great characters. It's going to be easy. But there is also a lot that can go wrong in the execution. So it just depends on, I think, who's going to be getting that final say. Thankfully, it's not Vince. Thankfully, it's Triple H. And hopefully that means that this thing is going to be delivered in line with our expectations. If it was Vince, I'd be a lot more concerned, to be honest. We know that Bray got very frustrated with Vince, and Vince with Bray. That relationship was not always in a great place, which is why Bray got released, and then it was, I believe, Triple H that brought him back. Stockport Taker said, looking forward to reading some of these comments that get posted. I'll have to pick up where I left off, taking out Lashley, Profits, and B-Fab. I think that's a good starting point, as Howdy had issues with Lashley and Hit Row, etc. I'll try anything once said, announce them like how they did Bray. They are here for unfinished business. Have them show up on every show for the first week and just feel out who they have chemistry with and then go from there. I can see them matching well with Judgment Day, Finn, JD McDonough, or even the D'Angelo family. Ooh. Parts Unknown said it's going to be trash. Hopefully, whoever they target don't get buried in this mess. LA Knight was able to survive that last Bray debacle, but not everyone has his charisma. So, I mean, what I would say is it seems like Parts Unknown was not on board with kind of the White Rabbit and Bray return. So, naturally, not going to be on board with the Nightbirds builds. But it is, you know, we asked for honest opinion, and it is true there's people out there that are not feeling this. I get comments from people saying that they don't like the QR code stuff, they don't like how it distracts from the streams. Like, that is a valid opinion. So there is concern that is out there, but I would just say try and enter this with as open a mind as possible. We don't have Bray around, and we don't quite know what this group's going to look like. It may be different to anything that we've seen before. So if you didn't enjoy the past, you might enjoy it this time. If you did enjoy the past and Bray's work, I'm sure there will still be plenty of that visible in this as well. So it's hard to hate on something we've not seen yet. So let's see where we end up, shall we? Right, here we've got Kane says, go for the king. And then we've got this gif of Cody Rhodes. So Kane saying, just go to the top, man. Scott said, for me, Rowan targeting Braun, Nikki targeting Alexa, Joe and Dexter to form the tag team, maybe. It's very interesting how people would carve this group up, to be honest, and who would be the guy that goes after the mid-card bout, who would be the tag team, who would they target. We're kind of getting a few similar themes, though. And so it seems like Nikki maybe trying to go after Alexa is a popular idea. Demetrix Demon said, I'd love to see the Mind Games with Judgment Day. Alex said they should target Judgment Day when Rhea returns. William said, I feel like DIY might be who they go after first, including Candice, due to the possibility of Dexter and Nikki feeling abandoned by them. That's fun. Not sure how Gacy or Eric fit into that feud, but maybe they go after others. I know JD is a dream feud, but they have their own issues. So Judgment Day is a dream feud, but they've got their own issues. I really like that, actually, about Dexter and Nikki maybe going after Johnny and Candice. Or what if it's actually like Joe Gacy and Eric Rowan that go after Johnny and go after Tommaso, and then it's actually Dexter and Nikki that don't feel comfortable with it. There's something about it that they can't bring themselves to do. So that could be really interesting as well, where we see the group isn't totally united and there's a few doubts as they're kind of remembering the past. That could be an interesting little subplot. So, yeah, very good. I like the DIY mention. Joey said, I think it would be very good if they target Liv. It would also be perfect since Liv and Bo are dating, and it could lead to her joining. Mark said it's doomed to fail. Without Bray, there's just no point. It's like watching Jurassic Park without the dinosaurs. So, again, I have to reiterate what I said earlier. These are honest opinions, honest reactions, and there are people out there that are really not feeling, I'd say it's the minority, but there are people out there that are really not feeling enthusiastic, shall we say. But I can only reiterate what I said, and that is I would give it a chance until we've seen whatever this thing is going to be. Haroldinho said, I would book them to win the team championships and US championship. Uncle as us and Eric and Dexter as the team. Oh, okay. Uncle Howdy as the US champion. Eric and Dexter as tag team champion. Then target Randy first. Alice said Braun because he left them and forgot about them. Terry said, I think the Wyatt Six will target Braun and potentially could be added to the group. Annette Morris with the burning of the compound by Randy. He's got to feature, hasn't he? I can't imagine Randy just carrying on about his business and having no interaction with this group. I've got to think that he will be a target at some point. So, he had such a history with Bray. So, yeah, I agree. I don't know that it's the first target. I don't know that it's this year. But at some point, their paths will cross, I'm sure. Ryan said, hiya Daze, good day. I think we should start slowly with this new group. I really want it to be successful. I'd like to see them start with the Pride as a start in feuds and build to Bloodline 2.0 at Mania. Can you see Howdy with a title in WWE? Maybe Intercontinental. Not sure about Howdy with a mid-card. I think if he's going to have a belt, he goes to the top. Howdy with a mid-card belt would be a bit strange, just because this feels like a group that really doesn't need belts. This is a group that kind of operates in the darkness a bit like The Undertaker, for example, right? And it kind of feels to me like they don't need belts. I don't think that is really the motivator. I think that there are other things, they're trying to spread a message, or they're trying to rid the world of evil, or they're trying to get revenge, them being motivated by championships and, I don't know, fame and money, that doesn't quite work for me. So them having a mid-card belt is a bit weird, but I would say a world title might work, because what a world title brings you is power. I mean, obviously, if you are the world champion, you've got significant power. You are the face of the company, and there's a lot that comes with that. So you can definitely make an argument for that, but that power is greatly decreased if we're going to talk about like the Intercontinental or the United States Championship, right? So, yeah, I don't know about mid-cards. I think a lot of people would like to see Bo, if this works, if this return works and it's hitting and it's cool and we're really investing in the characters and people are really on board with this as it plays out, I think then I could see people going, yeah, man, we need Uncle Howdy to be champ. We need to get that world title on him, and then, you know, he can just reign. His reign of terror could be something very, very interesting. If you think we've just pulled the trigger and put the title on Damian Priest, no disrespect to Damian Priest, he's got a great look, he's got a lot of experience, he's got a great tone to his promos, but Uncle Howdy doesn't feel a million miles away from Damian Priest, in the sense of, if we're going to take a chance on Damian Priest being world champion, I'm pretty sure we could take a chance on Uncle Howdy at some point. Maybe Howdy, you know, he's got to put the work in and it's really got to get somewhere before he gets Cody's belts. But to get that other belt, the one that Damian has got, I don't know that I'm seeing them being all that far away, to be honest. So it's hard to know until we see them, of course. It's hard to know once, like, it lands, but I've got to think they're going to shift merch. I've got to think they're going to get YouTube views. I've got to think that this thing is going to really grab, like, kids' attention, whatever. So Howdy to that World Heavyweight Championship doesn't strike me as that difficult. Nick Forrest said, I want Alexa and Braun, but I guess not. Well, we did drop, obviously, a big video earlier, thanks to Brady, who tagged me in a video from Tom Colohue. And so we did that on the Wrestling Daze channel. I am now posting stuff over on Twitter. I am trying to get things on Facebook as well. But honestly, we do so much content and so much good stuff that you guys come up with. I just want to get this stuff out there. So I've just started posting videos everywhere, to be honest. So even if you're not joining us on YouTube, you can find these videos certainly on Twitter and occasionally over on Facebook as well. So but yeah, there was a good one earlier today about Alexa news. Cody said, I'm thinking Gunther versus Randy in the finals and then they attack Orton. So you think that they could attack Orton at the finals of the... Is he in it? I don't think he's in it, is he? I don't think he's in the King of the Ring tournament. I know that we did see the SmackDown side, and to be honest with you, as I'm sat here right now, I can't quite remember who is in that SmackDown side. I don't think Orton is. So I'll have to go back and revisit it. I wonder if I've got it saved anywhere. I did try to download it. Can I bring it up here and see if we've got it in my downloads? Oh, I might have. Okay, so we've got Styles. He is. So Styles Orton is one of the matches on the SmackDown side. So Styles Orton, could it be that he makes his way through to the final and then they make their presence felt? That's interesting. That's an interesting thought. Very good. Very good. Right. The Judgment Day perhaps, said Derez fan. Olivia and Dad said it's got to be Orton as he ended the Fiend. Ethan said, I feel like it would or could be the Pride, since that was Bray's last feuds. I would absolutely love to see them going after TJD, the Judgment Day. Rico said, if WWE keeps couples together and Liv is on Raw, I wonder if the Wyatt 6 is going to be exclusively Raw. If this is a continuation of Bray, I'd like them to target Lashley, but he is on SmackDown. Don't make Taylor spend less time with Liv. He needs to focus on putting a ring on it. I don't know. I mean, I keep hearing rumors about them, that they're together, they're not together, and all this kind of stuff. You know how people talk. And I don't know what the truth is. I think they're still together. And if they're still together, I think they will try to keep them together. They really do try to keep couples together. So, and to be honest, I mean, she's on Raw, I believe. So I feel like Raw would be the natural home for this. This group being on that 3-hour show makes more sense, in my opinion. So, and plus also, I think if this is going to bring in viewers and it is going to get people talking and it is going to bring in intrigue, I could definitely see them wanting this to be on Netflix next year, which is the Raw show. So everything would point towards it being Raw, being their home. But you make an excellent point, Rico, about the Bo and Liv relationship and how does that affect where the group is going to operate. Riddick said, I say have them target the Final Testament first as an introductory feuds. That will give everyone in both groups something to work with for the summer. And then we can build to a more personal feuds going into WrestleMania with enemies of Bray's or Bo's past. Chris said the Pride is a great first feuds. The numbers match up and it finishes Bray's story with Bobby. Eric said, I really think it would be smart for them to debut where Bray left off, and I think that's Bobby Lashley. It would make sense storyline-wise. Watson said, just a thought, maybe Bo, Uncle Howdy should go after Lashley. Do you know what we said earlier about like how like the same kind of theme's going to keep coming across? We have had people saying have them go after Braun, but I'm definitely getting this Bobby Lashley message loud and clear. As he was going to face Bray at Mania, maybe that means the rest of the group could go after the Street Profits and B-Fab. I do think they'll be on SmackDown, though. It seems like the better option. So Watson actually thinks different. He thinks they'll go over to SmackDown. Albia said, I don't like the whole replicating Fiend stuff. If this is Bo, let him be Bo with his own persona. No Howdy. By the way, that was weird. He never did anything. Also, the others can't be Bray's ideas either. They all need to be new characters for a new era. Well, again, we don't know until we actually start with this thing as to what characters they're going to be, but I think we're getting Howdy, to be honest. I mean, Uncle Howdy, we didn't really do a great deal with him, and we don't know where that story was meant to be going before, obviously, Bray passed away. So there is a sense of unfinished business. I think that they can come back and sort of continue with the story that they had planned. They can use that as a starting point. I'm sure it's going to look different now. There may have been feuds that are no longer possible, or, you know, there may be changes that need to be made, but it seems like a lot of people want them to kind of pick up where they've left off by going after Bobby. That's a message that's kind of come across loud and clear. So I think you're getting Howdy. And, you know, you may get the Firefly Funhouse. I don't know that you'll see the Fiend, of course, because that's Bray, but I have said, I think for me, one of the things that really came across in the documentary was how much Bray and Bo so wanted to work together at WrestleMania. They dreamed of doing that as kids. And for me, it's not the final destination, but I think one of the stops on this road should be Bo and Bray somehow being there, being represented at WrestleMania. I mean, I don't mind if it's that Uncle Howdy has a singles match, and then after the match, we put a picture of Bray on the screen, and there's just a moment where you can see him looking at Bray, and there's just that moment where both of their faces, both of them are on screen at the same time. You know, it's not the same, but it's as close as we can get. Or, as I said, you know, do you remember when we did the hologram of Paul Bearer for Undertaker when he said goodbye? I believe that was Survivor Series a few years ago, where we had Paul Bearer hologram, and Undertaker went down onto his knee and held his hand up as he was drawing the power of the urn. You know, it was such a wonderful moment. Like, again, why could we not do something like that where, say, Howdy wins, and then you've got, like, Bray appearing at the end as a hologram? It sounds like crazy. It sounds like, what are you on about? But we've done it. It's been done. It's like, this isn't pie in the sky stuff. This is something we did years ago with Paul Bearer and Undertaker. So for me, that's something that I would love to see. I would love to see Bo and Bray have a moment, or as close as we can get to a moment, at WrestleMania. So I don't think it's about just throwing everything Bray did away. I think it's about building and expanding upon it and taking it into, a new direction where maybe it was planning on going, with obviously a few changes as we go into this new era. GGTK said there better be some spectacular reveal or something interesting. I get the sentiment and reasoning behind it all, but at the same time, they are going through a lot just for Bo to come back and probably still be lame, said GGTK. Yeah, well, again, we're going to have to wait and see. There's plenty of people that are not quite feeling this, but again, until we've actually seen what the group looks like, and I like the people that are involved, I think there's real potential there. We know that the Wyatt family was a great success. I enjoyed the Firefly Funhouse. Not everything that Bray was doing was landing for me, right? And I know it didn't land for a lot of people, but there's a lot of people as well that loved everything that Bray did. So it's one of those where I'm totally on board. I was totally on board last time, and we'll just see kind of what we get and where it goes. But there is so much goodwill towards Bo Dallas. There is so much goodwill towards him in particular, and the whole Bray Wyatt family, that that I think is going to really fuel it and really help it, I think, succeed. But again, we'll have to wait and see. Brady said, I think the first targets of the Wyatt Six should be the Judgment Day, more specifically Finn Balor. This feud could go until SummerSlam, where at SummerSlam, 5 years after The Fiend debuted, Uncle Howdy could face Finn, where Alexa then returns to cost Finn the match. So that would be pretty fun. Little nod to the past. Target Judgment Day, and then at SummerSlam you do Howdy against Finn Balor. That is face versus heel. Maybe you even do Howdy against, I don't know if you'd bring the Demon back, but you could really have some fun with that. And you've got the Judgment Day, and you've got the Wyatt Six, and I really like that. And it pays tribute, of course, to how The Fiend would debut and have his first match. So yeah, I like that, Brady. I like that a lot. Ryan said, have them all under somewhat of a trance, with Howdy almost using them as mercenaries to take people out that wronged Bray. It could be interesting. Seth Guard said, if they're gonna keep them as a group and not just Bo, I would have them target Judgment Day. They're gonna be cheered because of the sympathy for Bray. They would be a good feuding faction opposite the Judgment Day, similar to the Shield against the Wyatts back in the day. I agree. I think that's a very good comparison. If we can get even close to how epic Shield versus Wyatts was from back in the day, then we are cooking. We are really cooking, because that really was exceptional. Ken said, I feel like Randy Orton should be the first target. He RKO's Husky Harris out of WWE. He joined the Wyatt family to betray them. He burnt down Abigail's cabin. He took Bray's championship at Mania. He set The Fiend on fire and then beat him when Alexa turns after feuding with Alexa herself. Orton feels like the one who got away. Well said. Gio the Theo said, I feel like the QR code up to this point has had no story connection, making it hard to predict how they're going to be booked. Hopefully they target Randy Orton for his history with Bray, but I have a bad feeling they will have them target someone like Final Testament, which would suck. And then, I don't know if we've got any quoted ones. Oh, we got a couple. Harry said they should come back as heels. We discussed this a while ago. The vibe from the teasers just screams heel faction. Maybe the Pride is their target. Seeing as Bobby was going to be Bray's opponent around Mania 40 time for Mania 41. Final Testament, a psychological war, maybe. And Tea Time Danger said, I think they should target Judgment Day first. So there we go. Obviously, many questions about the dynamic of this group and who they should go over, but we're getting a lot of those same names and same themes with probably the Prides and Bobby Lashley being the names being mentioned the loudest. Obviously, Randy Orton being mentioned a lot. Braun Strowman being mentioned a lot. A little bit of Final Testament in there as well. And I really like what Brady said about bringing them back and having Howdy maybe go after Finn Balor. That does then reflect the Fiend's first match at SummerSlam against Finn Balor. So that's a nice little callback. The only thing I would say is I don't think you have to do it just for the sake of a callback. I think like you can get a bit too bogged down in that kind of stuff where it's like we should do this because it calls back to, you know, what but you know, at what point you go, what does that matter? You know, if there's a better story to be told, if there's an alternative that would be better, then I would say let's go that way. We don't need to reflect the past, right? But I think that's fun because it works with Judgment Day and it sort of works with Finn being a heel, and it works, as we said, with faction versus faction. So for me, it works. It's not just a case of doing it because, you know, it reflects the past. It actually works as well. That's my point. So that's why I really like what Brady said. It's not just a case of reflecting where we've been, you know. So, yeah, some really good thoughts there. Really appreciate everyone spending their time to leave a comment. We'll definitely do more of these videos where we can dig into your thoughts and see what you lot are thinking about current factions or current direction for superstars. So a great shout by Eric proposing that we do this. And I hope you enjoyed it. Appreciate the support as always. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.